Hey everybody, we're back. Brand new Cabral HouseCall, first one of the weekend. Can't wait to get into our questions. Actually going to open up that document right now. Hopefully you've been tuning in for years now to the show, but if you haven't, every single weekend on Saturdays and Sundays, I'd love to be able to answer our community's questions. So if you have your own question, you can write in each and every day at cabralsupportgroup.com. We'll get you an answer that same day, Monday through Friday. But if you want to have it read live on the show, feel free to write in at stephencabral.com/askcabral. All right, let's dive into the first question of the day. It's from Bryce. Bryce says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm a newer listener, but I've spent all year trying to reverse my plethora of health issues. I'm sick of spending thousands of dollars on supplements and tests and going down different rabbit holes. But I've seen all the specialists, done functional medicine meds, lots of labs, and still haven't seen any resolve. My main issues being nail psoriasis, the worst the doctor's ever seen, and lots of bloat and digestive issues. I can give you more details, but I think my issues are nervous system and autoimmune based, as I have type 1 diabetes and lymphocytic colitis as well. I'm only 29 and getting married soon. Just hoping to get my body better aligned and how I treat it. I eat super healthy, weight lift, but cannot lose the bloat and need to feel better soon. Please help." Yeah, happy to help, Bryce. So, again, not all doctors, not all protocols, not all whatever are created equal. It took me 9.5 years to find a doctor that was able to help me. I don't want that for you. But once I found that doctor, again, I'd seen 150 to 100, like somewhere in that range. I don't have any idea how many I saw. I mean, just medical doctors alone, I saw 24. So that was useless for 2 years. Then I started seeing natural health practitioners, and they had little answers here, little answers there, but nothing to put it all together. I get well, relapse, get well, relapse, so never knew. And then of course I met Dr. Pete that I talk about the rain barrel effect. So Bryce, I would read the rain barrel effect. It's free at stephencabral.com/free book. But really, if you want to get to the bottom of it, I know that you're saying it's nervous system autoimmune. Very well could be, but remember, autoimmune has an underlying root cause. You're bloating almost 100%. I'm not a betting man. I go to Las Vegas. I don't bet. But what I would say in this case is that, we've seen hundreds of thousands of cases, like hundreds of thousands. And so almost 100%, this has to do with a gut-based issue, meaning there's candida overgrowth. There might be bacterial overgrowth. There might be parasites. There might be H. pylori. There might be food sensitivities. Most likely, 2 of those, maybe more. And so you can run what is called the gut bundle, which is the food sensitivity test, the candida metabolic and vitamins test, and the bacteria and parasite stool test. If you don't want to run those because you're like, I'm done running labs, then do the CBO protocol with citracetyl drops and start there. Like if you're just saying like, I don't want to do anymore, I don't want to talk with anybody, CBO protocol, stephencabral.com/CBO, but just make sure you add 3 weeks of the citracetyl drops. If you don't know how to use those, just ask at cabralsupportgroup.com. We're happy to help. It shouldn't be the only thing you do. You should use the daily nutritional support for breakfast with omega-3s and vitamin D. That's the minimum. And then, of course, you want to do the CBO finisher. So in my opinion, work with an Equal Life coach, work with an integrative health practitioner. They're the experts. They've done this for years. They have hundreds of hours of training, if not thousands of hours. And again, if you want to work with the experts, it's ideally what you want to do. If you run the Big 3 gut bundle, you get a personalized call. You also get, a reading of your results and personalized program. But again, I want to do right by you, and whatever you feel is right, then that's the way to start. So hopefully that's helpful. But believe me, this is how we fix psoriasis. This is how we fix autoimmune issues, and certainly how we help people get rid of the bloating. All right. And no doubt you'll see the same. Jackie's up next. Jackie says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for all that you and your team do. I can't express enough how much you have changed my life and my clients." Thank you, Jackie. It's great to hear that. "I have a question regarding nerve pain. My husband has TOS, for people who don't know what that is. It's thoracic outlet syndrome. And we are pursuing everything we can nutritionally, orthopedically. Could you provide us with an update on your experience with red light, the Juve specifically? Are there any other passive modalities that clinically impact nerve pain that can be done from home? For context, heat, cold, palpitation all make the nerve pain much more prominent." Yeah, because they're exacerbating right to the nervous system, right? Okay, so believe it or not, I had a minor amount of thoracic outlet syndrome back when I was 22, 23 years old. For me, I had too much weight on my frame. Now, I'm not saying this is your husband's specific issue, but for my body, I'm about 5'8", and I was bodybuilding, doing all those things, natural bodybuilding back then. I was almost 200 pounds. That's a lot. That's a lot on my frame. And it was causing issues. So for me, I was inflamed because I was eating the wrong foods. I wasn't getting enough of good omega-3s, and I was far too tight, and I was impacted there. So what I would say is that working with a good chiropractor, which I did, which wasn't adjustments, by the way. There's some great chiropractors out there that can do manipulated stretching. They can do or active release therapy is what it's called. So I met with someone, did active release therapy. I ended up leaning out more, and that meant losing some muscle as well. I know that that's, not what everybody wants to do, but I got down to a much more normal weight back then of like 178 to 180 pounds. And that was very beneficial. Started using good nutritional supplements. All of those things were helpful. There was nobody was talking about red light back in 2000-ish area. The Juve can be helpful, but it's more for superficial nerve-based issues and mitochondria, not so much for deeper nerve-based pain. So what I would personally do is, again, if you can run the big five, run the big five. If not, good anti-inflammatory nutrition plan, lots of podcasts on that, daily nutritional support each day, omega-3s, vitamin D3, if you can, daily fruit and vegetable blend, like those are all what you want to start with as natural anti-inflammatories. And then the product Inflamasoothe, I would certainly do that once or twice a day for 3 capsules. And you might even look at proteolytic enzymes, 2 capsules upon waking. All of those can be found at stephencabral.com/shop. It just takes you over to EcoLife, and I'll let you take it from there. All right, Jess is up next. Jess says, hi, and thank you for all that you do. Ever since I think I can say this now, but who knows? COVID and Moderna. I have a sun allergy. It took me 6 months to get over COVID 4 years ago. I'm 95% better other than my skin. It seems Moderna is well linked to first-time PLME. How can I fix this? I've laid out in the sun all my life, and now I can't do 10 minutes without a rash. All right. So first I have to say is that I can't provide any medical advice, medical treatments, medical cures, and medical diagnosis. YouTube loves to take down my videos because I talk about these things sometimes, but we need to talk about them. People are asking questions. We need to be able to help. So PLME stands for polymorphous light eruption. It's basically just a skin. You don't even want to call it an allergy, but it's a skin reaction from the sun. But really what it is, it's immune dysregulation. And so some people got immune dysregulation from the virus or the other thing that people got for the virus, right? And what it does is it changed the immune system, created more inflammation. So it does show that the body is still inflamed and slightly dysregulated, probably a little bit more Th2 dominant. So what we like to do, and I've got lots of shows on overcoming long COVID and post-inflammatory viral syndrome, which is really what long COVID is, but working on the gut, so repairing the gut, doing the CBO protocol if needed, doing at least the CBO finisher, which is the daily probiotic support, plus the healthy gut support, using good vitamin D3, using the immunity protocol, which is the D3, the balanced zinc, and then vitamin C. And then, of course, always the daily nutritional support and omega-3. That's where we start. And then what you can do is you can use things like HisPro, 1 to 2 capsules, 2 to 3 times a day, has stinging nettles, quercetin, perilla extract, all of the things that act as natural antihistamines that can help with these types of reactions. So all of this is highly beneficial. But working on the gut, immune system, and histamines all do the trick, and because we've seen this many times. So if you want, run the starter kit or the big 5, and you'll get a full consultation and plan along with it. And you can find those labs at stephencabral.com/shop, or you can just go to stephencabral.com/big and the number 5 or /starter-kit. All right, that'll help you out. I think we have one more question here today. 2 more questions. This next one's from Larissa, and it says, hello, I have some questions about parasites for beginners. I've done the GI map stool test that was negative for parasites. However, I have many symptoms consistent with parasite infections, and I hear that most tests are not accurate. Do you have a test you recommend for parasites in the gut? Is there a different test to check for parasitic infections in the brain? As far as treatment, I did food sensitivity tests and have significant intolerances to wormwood. Can you recommend an alternative? Is it worth testing if there's high suspicion, or should you just confirm with testing? I'm an adult, but I have the same questions for toddlers. Thank you so much. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're good here. So, well, here's the thing. Yes, not all lab tests are created equal. we use a lab test that is a 3-day stool test. If you don't do a 3-day stool test, you have 2 less chances of finding parasites. So that's why I like the 3-day. That's the one that we use because, again, we always choose the lab test with the most efficacy behind it. But even if you didn't want to run the lab test, you could do what's called the Para-Support Protocol. And again, that's with Equilife, the one that I formulate for. It does have wormwood. A lot of food sensitivity tests don't test for wormwood. I'm not sure if you did muscle testing or if you did a food sensitivity test, because I like the actual testing. So, but if you do, you do. And so then what do you need to do? Well, you need to look at other anti-parasitics, which would be, the whole foods would be raw pumpkin seeds, crushed raw garlic. Both of those work, but there's other great things as well, such as cloves and thyme and oregano and artemisia, which is sweet wormwood, so I can't say that one. What else? Cloves, if I didn't mention that, those are fantastic as well. Then there's Mimosa pudica. So all of those could be used if you're not able to use wormwood, although wormwood is part of like 90+% parasite support protocols or para-support protocols. And the reason is because it absolutely works. So, and then we do the same thing for toddlers as well. We just do a lower dosage, and Equilife can send you the children's instructions as needed as well. So hopefully that was helpful. So you can get the bacteria and parasite stool test at stephencabral.com/shop, as well as the para-support protocol that we do. That's an 8-week protocol. Protocols you do should be at least 6 weeks to make sure you get not only all the parasites, but also all of the eggs, which unfortunately they do lay. There is not a specific test for parasites in the brain that I've ever heard of. However, when you run your blood work, you can also look at basophils and eosinophils, which can sometimes show allergies and or parasites. All right. All right. Larry is up next, or Larry, L-A-R-I. Hello, I have a 5-year-old niece with Tinea Versicolor. I'm wondering how she could have developed this. Interestingly enough, her 8-year-old brother had molluscum, and that's just spelled a little wrong, but contingentum, about 2 years ago, and a 6-year-old brother developed absent seizures around that time after a trip to SeaWorld. Oh, could this be related? Also, how would you treat Tinea Versicolor in a 5-year-old girl? All right, so again, we can't provide any medical treatment plans, cures, diagnosis, or medical advice. Here's what we do though. Tinea versicolor is almost always from a candida or yeast fungal-based growth. The growth can be from the inside out or from the outside. So all of that is a possibility. In all of these children, after the age of 3, we would do what's called the Children's CBO protocol. CBO stands for Candida Bacterial Optimizing Protocol for the Gut. So that's what we do, Children's CBO protocol. And then topically, we could certainly use, and I've talked about this before, a little coconut oil with 2 drops of tea tree oil. Works really well in our practice. Sometimes if that isn't taking, we'll do a little bit of coconut oil if the child's not sensitive with grapefruit seed extract drops, and that just 1 or 2, and that can work as well on wherever it might be. You always want to test a very small patch, usually a nickel size, no more than a dime or a nickel size patch, to see if there's a sensitivity to that. Could it have come from a trip to SeaWorld? Certainly. Yeah, certainly could have come from a trip to SeaWorld. Fungal infections come from wet type environments, and so that may not be out of the realm of possibility. So that's exactly what we want to do. If you want to run one lab, it's done for children as well. It's called the Candida Metabolic and Vitamins Test. Simple urine-based test to see if there is any yeast overgrowth, fungal overgrowth inside the body. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. Really great questions here today. And of course, I'll be back tomorrow answering more of our community questions. Take care. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.